If any man has no ideology in Nigeria today, it is Peter Obi.
Shut up.
Doctor, has Tinubu ever governed Lagos?
Tinubu has never governed Lagos.
But we also how Tinubu captured the whole of Lagos.
He captured Lagos through intimidation.
Dr. Kenneth Okonkwo is your name, right?
We have what it takes to populate the whole world with professionals. Indians, if you go to United States, if you go to United Kingdom particularly, you will see Asians practicing their medicine.
That is not my question, sir. Are you Dr. Kenneth Okonkwo?
I can tell you that for free.
Perfect. Can you please tell us with all honesty what you and your party will do for Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole if you're given the opportunity?
What we're going to do is, my principal, having seen the developmental agenda of all countries, because that's why he travels to all countries, he said, look, I'm going to invest in education through the STEM education: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. When you do that, you build surplus professionals that you can now engage in legal migration. You can now feed the whole world with your intellectuals. So we are going to develop our youths, enhance their human capital to make sure that we can feed the world if they want, with intellectualism and professionalism. So we are not scared of brain drain in Labour Party or in the regime of Peter Obi. He's going to transform it to brain gain. Having said that, let us come into the issue of corruption. One of the 7-point agenda of my principle is restructuring through effective legal and institutional reforms that will aggressively fight corruption, prevent corruption, maintain rule of law, reduce cost of governance, and ensure an honest and efficient civil service in Nigeria by the combined effects of the incompetence of PDP and APC that led us to have a civil service that you cannot do anything without offering money. I can tell you that for free.
This is just sing-song. We are not into lullabies.
Can you please be calm? Let him finish. Doctor, right on.
That is why we say they are transactional. You cannot do anything in Nigeria now without going into the transaction of it. Corruption. My principal could not even accept what is due for him, was not even and has not been taking any pension as a former governor, could not even take any plot of land. When we went to Benin, I was in Oba of Benin's palace, and the Oba looked at him and said, your integrity is going before you. I have a principle that loathes corruption. Not only that he will not be corrupt, he's incorruptible. And coming into the issue of education, you have heard about sorting, you have heard about sexual harassment. These things are all vestiges of a collapsing and a failing educational system. The reason when lecturers, their take home can no longer take them home, they start looking, especially the ones that may not be as godly as some other ones, they start looking for other ways to make both ends meet. When students do not have lecturers that teach them because their lecturers are doing other businesses, they begin to look for other ways to survive. When my principal was the governor of Anambra State, he first of all returned the schools to their original owners who will manage the school effectively. He put money, he bought laptops. He digitalized the educational system of Anambra State. As at that time, it was not accidental. They turned and became first. It was not accidental that the university that is in Anambra State today did not join the strike. And when they were asked, they say it was the formula that was built by Peter Obi when he was the governor. So educationally, the corruption is as a result of poverty. It is as a result of not being able to afford what you ought to afford. Talking about the issue of corruption in APC government, one person stealing 109 billion naira, and he's the person that is the custodian of the money. How much will you give education when the person that is the custodian is stealing such amounts? You can see what is going on in budget. They have never budgeted up to 10% in education since their inception. Of course, their leaders are not very good. They are not known to have had certificates. Even the one they have is litigable and pejorable. I don't want to go into the issue of legal because they will accuse me of intimidating them, being a learned gentleman. But what I'm trying to say is that in corruption, APC has failed, PDP has failed. The presidential candidate of PDP was described as the most corrupt person on earth by his own president, written in his own book. Is that the kind of man you would want to come to supervise a corrupt education? I don't want to talk about APC. Another name for APC is corruption, and they cannot fight it because it's become systemic in APC. And I don't want to talk about their presidential candidate that has captured a state like Lagos. So education is not his priority. But when it comes to my principle, like I have told you, we are interested in a digital economy. He started the process in Anambra State, and we are still going to do it. You don't wipe corruption except you fund education, except you make sure that the youths are, like I told you, you have to retrain the teachers, you have to retool them, and you have to recertify them.
Thank you. Mr. Cletus, APC spokesman, you wanted to say something.
The Nigerian populace is getting wary of politicians who talk about ideology. If any man has no ideology in Nigeria today, it is Peter Obi.
Shut up.
Doctor, with all due respect, obedience are respectful people. Can you please allow him to talk? Mr. Cletus, match fire.
If he has no principles, it is Peter Obi. This is a man who was given the spiritual and political heritage of Anambra State by no other person than the late Ikemba. May his soul rest in peace. And the man swore before the Igbo people and said, if I leave this party to collapse, let me and my children see nothing good. He swore. It's on tape, it's on record. We have the record if you want, and we'll play it on air. Now, hardly had he left office than the quest for power's sake, power mongering, drove him to become a vice president to the article he's talking gleefully about today. He was vice presidential candidate. They won in 2019. We'll be discussing now as a vice president. When it was now evident to him that he had no space to contest for presidency, he moved to Labour Party. What is his ideology? Directly opposite, a man who runs a private and capitalist economy as an importer, as a trader, which he had admitted to be, had no business in Labour. What is Labour all about? Labour is the first that went on the time, which he was calling match. What the APC candidate at that time was to join Labour, the Nigerian Labour Congress, on that march when it was time, when they were sitting on no subsidy. So if he's talking about ideology today, one of the biggest problems we have is this lack of ideological standing. Two is that we are not going to get talking about sloganeering, bringing slogans and engaging in labeling. We are going to do this brain gain, production to. This is just sing-song. We are not into lullabies. We must have to get into the reality of things. And these two people have been governors, please. So I'm happy that he said that Anambra State University did not go on strike because of the foundation led by Peter Obi. Of course, you heard the present governor and his remarks, for which they are known as usual. The attack dogs on social media have gone after him. 2 days after he was physically attacked in his community for that. They are known for this. I saw somebody, I left the studio on one occasion. The first time we came to start the campaigns here. And the first call I got is, if you don't want to vote Peter Obi, I will show you that you will not see 2023 election. I got that message, and the next thing I saw was a young man brandishing a gun and oiling it and sending it to me as a video here and threatening me with that. Now, this is part of the desperation to which we delude and get our supporters into. What has happened in Lagos with Tinubu? What are the reasons of Tinubu, which he said he captured? How do you capture an intellectual group like the Lagos State people? You capture a professor, a pastor, you professor, a senior advocate like Fashola. You capture a democratic spirit, a humanitarian, a radical, a Marxist radical like Aregbesola, you capture them, you capture an intellectual like Fayemi, you capture him, enslave him, and for a man you say did not go to school, and when I hear you say, who are his primary school mates? It makes me laugh. Please, who are the primary school mates of the almighty Afe Babalola? Who are his secondary school mates?
Do I know?
Let's talk about security.
On security, I started by telling you that you cannot do education, economy, or anything without security.
What measures will be put in place for that?
No government since 1960 has acquired military hardware than this regime. Please cross-check and fact-check this. Show us what we spent on this and what is showing today. Today, as we speak, you are aware that after the Kuje prisons and after the Republican or the Brigade of Guards was attacked, or those officers were attacked, as we speak today, people are driving safely to Kaduna. People are not safely to Kaduna. We've not had any more kidnappings on that route. And indeed, today, just today, the rail lines have opened again. Today.
Thank you. And lastly, Mr. Soni, spokesman for PDP, how will our educational system look like if you're given the opportunity?
What's going to happen is that there will be a boost in the educational sector.
How? I don't understand.
Facilities are there for them to work.
Wait, Uncle Charles, allow him to speak. Sir, right on.
If you remember in 2015, Nigerians were coming back en masse into the country to come and invest. Why did that happen? Because Nigeria then was the biggest economy in Africa, and it was the fastest growing economy in sub-Saharan Africa, and it was also the fastest growing economy in the world then, one of the fastest growing economies in the world then. So Nigerians were coming back home because there was something of positive going on in the country. And the same way people were moving their funds into the country in 2015, you see them coming back into the country. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is the only person that has a different way of tackling the current situation that will revolutionize what we have now, without mere saying. Then secondly, we're talking about security, how to secure the educational system. Before we left in 2015, there was already a plan in place where the Safe School Initiative was already in progress to be able to keep the schools safe. Now, PDP always come up with agendas, with plans put in place that people can see, and they are working. We don't just talk. We don't just give rhetorics and just throw things in the air. You can see them working. We talk about corruption. People say PDP is the only government that has fought corruption. Now we don't know about Labour. They are talking like the APC now. You know, in the past, but the APC has 7 years now. Nothing has happened.
Doctor, has Tinubu ever governed Lagos?
Tinubu has never governed Lagos.
But we also how Tinubu captured the whole of Lagos.
He captured Lagos through intimidation. He captured Lagos through intimidation.
You see?
The person they will see.
Get your PVC and vote wisely. I'm out of here.